what's important when you do a play is you also have to find contemporary references. And what was true at the time I did the play 2 years ago is Dublin has real pressure on housing, there's real poverty in lots of areas of the city, and I wanted to find a way to make a production that spoke to contemporary Dublin while obviously honouring the events that happened in 1916. Having women with shawls and dirt on their face, I don't think it has meaning to a modern audience in that same way. So what we do is we go, oh look, that's how they were then, that's poverty then, but this has nothing to do with my life now. And I can sort of indulge in a sort of bit of historical nostalgia. Whereas when you think when he was writing the play, it wasn't completely contemporary, but he's writing about events that were only 10 years ago and were still very alive for Ireland, and especially really alive for an island which had also gone through a war of independence and then a brutal civil war only a few years before. So he then writes something that's really incandescent with rage and challenging all these orthodoxies. So I wanted to do the same thing. I wanted to not to impose that, but to find a way where even today we would be challenged by O'Case's challenge. And so, for example, there's a character in the play called Molza, and Molza is 15 and she's dying of tuberculosis, and at the time the play was written there was no cure, and this killed hundreds if not thousands of people in the tenements. She doesn't have much to do in the play, but she's always kind of present. I think what he's saying is there's all this energy and rhetoric and care about nationalism and about independence, but you haven't really addressed the fundamental thing, which is children are dying horrible disease in poverty. Now, it's not the same conditions, thank God, in Dublin or in London now where people are dying of tuberculosis, but it's definitely true that far too many of our young people are growing up in circumstances that are poverty-stricken and restricted. And so we wanted to find a way to put that on stage. So our opening image is Molza climbs out of the audience. She then sang the anthem in perfect Irish before, towards the end of it, coughing. And the audience would think, oh no, poor thing, she's coughing. And then she'd cough more and she'd cough blood over the piece of paper she had in her hand, which was obviously the tuberculosis. And then we'd start the play. So what I wanted to do was foreground the illness of this child. And in Act 4, she's in a coffin, she's dead, and nobody still doesn't pay her any attention. Everyone is engaging in the play with ideas of how Ireland could change or how it could be free from British rule, but very few people are really engaging with how you make it a country which looks after all of its citizens more.